In the untamed heart of Yellowstone, a lone female wolf rises from fragility to power, overcoming weakness, facing impossible odds, and forging a legacy that would outlive her. This is not just the story of survival, but of leadership, instinct, and the making of a legend. Join us as we follow the extraordinary journey of the she-wolf, brought to you by Wild Tracks. Born to lead. Her journey begins nestled in the heart of a thriving wolf pack, an intricate social unit built on cooperation, hierarchy, and survival. When she is born, she weighs less than a pound and is no larger than a soda can. Like all newborn wolf pups, she arrives blind and deaf, completely dependent on her mother and the rest of the pack for warmth, nourishment, and protection. For the first 2 weeks, her eyes remain sealed shut, but even in this vulnerable state, the instincts that define her kind are already taking root. Wolf pups are born into a highly structured society where social order is everything. From an early age, litter mates engage in playful wrestling and dominance games, activities that are not just for fun, but serve as critical behavioral rehearsal. These early skirmishes help determine future roles within the pack, who will follow and who will lead. By the time winter sets in, the pecking order among the pups is already emerging. Canid biologists note that gray wolves, Canis lupus, experience one of the fastest juvenile growth rates among large carnivores. During their first few months, healthy wolf pups gain around 2 to 3 pounds per week, fueled by a rich diet of regurgitated meat brought back by the adult hunters. This period of rapid development is essential. Wolves need to mature quickly because the wild does not wait. By 6 months of age, a pup is nearly adult-sized and is expected to join in on hunts, starting with easier tasks like tracking or harassing prey. She absorbs crucial hunting skills by watching her elders, reading body language, sensing opportunity, and learning when to hold back or strike. These learned behaviors will one day serve her well, especially when she must rely solely on her own abilities. Every wolf has less than a year to master the basics of life: tracking, teamwork, kill strategies, and social etiquette, before they face their first winter. For her, that learning curve is more than survival. It is preparation for something greater. She's not just growing stronger, she's quietly building the foundations of a leader. A turning point. As she approaches the critical age of 2, when most wolves begin to reach sexual maturity, tragedy alters the course of her life. Her alpha father, the powerful male who once ruled the pack, dies unexpectedly. With his passing, the tightly knit group of 17 wolves begins to fracture. The balance of leadership is delicate in wolf society. Once it's disrupted, the structure can unravel quickly. The pack faces increasing pressure from external forces. Prey populations are declining, a natural cycle in ecosystems like Yellowstone, where elk, bison, and deer numbers fluctuate in response to weather patterns, disease, and predator-prey dynamics. Simultaneously, rival wolf packs push aggressively into their territory, seeking to expand their hunting grounds. Under this double threat, scarcity of food and constant territorial conflict, the group begins to collapse. Some of her siblings and cousins disperse in search of new opportunities. Others fall victim to hunger or injury. What was once a strong, cohesive pack is now a scattered remnant. For her, the situation is even more complicated. Wolves have an innate biological mechanism for avoiding inbreeding. Studies show that even in isolated populations, wolves rarely breed with close kin. This behavior is guided by scent, vocalizations, and early life familiarity, all of which help wolves recognize their relatives. Staying within the crumbling pack would mean forsaking her chance to pass on her genes. Instinct and biology push her toward a dangerous choice, one faced by countless wolves before her: dispersal. Dispersal is one of the riskiest transitions in a wolf's life. Without the safety and support of a pack, lone wolves are more vulnerable to starvation, predation, and territorial attacks. Only a fraction of dispersers survive long enough to find a new mate and establish a territory of their own. Yet, it is this perilous path that keeps wolf populations genetically healthy and diverse. So, she makes her decision. Leaving behind everything she has ever known, family, safety, and the familiar rhythms of pack life, she steps into the wilderness as a lone female. It is a bold move, driven not only by survival, but by the deep-rooted instinct to find new ground, to form something of her own, and to begin the next chapter of her life. Lone wolf against the odds. Striking out alone marks the most dangerous chapter in any wolf's life. Wolves are social carnivores, biologically wired to operate within a pack where responsibilities are shared, whether in raising pups, defending territory, or coordinating a hunt. As a lone wolf, stripped of the strength in numbers, wolf faces a daily gauntlet of challenges that test every survival instinct she possesses. Territory is a sacred currency in the wolf world. Other packs defend their land with ferocity, and trespassing can mean certain death. Wolves are known to be one of the few mammalian predators that regularly engage in lethal combat with members of their own species. As a disperser, wolf must navigate through a dangerous patchwork of rival domains, each patrolled by wolves that would kill her rather than share. Hunting, too, becomes infinitely more difficult. Gray wolves are built for cooperation. Long limbs, deep chests, and stamina that allow them to pursue large prey like elk and bison over great distances. But taking down such animals solo is an almost impossible feat. Adult elk can weigh over 700 pounds, and their hooves are powerful enough to fracture bone or rupture organs with a single well-placed kick. Mothers, especially, will fight with desperation to defend their calves. Even so, she-wolf has tools of her own. Her olfactory sense is among the most advanced in the animal kingdom, estimated to be over 100 times more sensitive than a human's. She can detect the scent of prey, scavengers, or even rival wolves from more than a mile away. Her hearing is equally acute, capable of picking up the subtle rustle of rodents in the grass or the distant howls of competitors. But adaptation is key. Without the benefit of teamwork, she shifts her focus to smaller prey. Ground squirrels, voles, and prairie dogs become critical sources of nutrition. These tiny mammals are energy-rich, but hard-earned. Hunting them requires patience, stealth, and quick reflexes. And even then, they offer only temporary relief, a snack rather than a feast. Scavenging becomes part of her survival strategy. She follows the trails of vultures and ravens, hoping they lead to a carcass she can share or steal from. Each day is a gamble, but she endures, sharpening her instincts and learning to read the boundless subtle signs of opportunity in the wilderness. Alone, she cannot afford mistakes. Every decision, every step could be the difference between life and death. Yet against the odds, she-wolf survives. And in her solitude, she grows stronger, wiser, and more attuned to the wild than ever before. Finding a mate. After nearly a year of navigating the wilds alone, facing hunger, danger, and solitude, fate finally intervenes. She crosses paths with two male wolves, dispersers like herself, likely on the same quest, to find companionship, safety in numbers, and a future beyond their solitary struggle. Among them, she chooses the smaller, younger one. Though inexperienced, he is attentive and loyal, a crucial foundation for what comes next. In wolf society, the bond between a male and female is not fleeting. Unlike many mammals, gray wolves form monogamous pairs that often last for life. These alpha pairs are not necessarily the strongest or most aggressive, but they are the most effective leaders, the ones who secure territory, provide for their pack, and successfully raise offspring. Together, they form the nucleus of every wolf family. The timing is perfect. Spring is approaching, the seasons of renewal and reproduction. With more abundant prey and milder weather, it is the ideal moment to begin a new chapter. She-wolf is now pregnant, a physical transformation triggered by not just instinct, but complex hormonal shifts that prepare her body for motherhood. Her reproductive cycle is tightly synchronized with the seasons. Wolves typically breed in late winter, and pups are born after about 63 days, when the environment offers the greatest chance for survival. Forming a pack begins with more than just mating. It requires cooperation, communication, and trust. Wolves use an elaborate system of vocalizations, body language, and scent marking to coordinate movement, reinforce social bonds, and establish territorial boundaries. Even the simple act of howling, often romanticized, is a strategic tool, serving as both a rallying call and a warning to others. Now, she-wolf has what every lone wolf longs for: a companion and the beginnings of a pack. It's a modest start, but one full of promise. She is no longer just a survivor. She is a founder, a matriarch in the making, and her long-held dream of raising a family is finally coming to life. Mother and hunter. Pregnancy is a pivotal transformation, not just a biological change, but a complete shift in survival priorities. For a female wolf, gestation is physically demanding, and once her pups are born, the demands increase dramatically. A lactating mother requires far more energy than normal, at least 7 pounds of meat per day, to sustain both herself and her growing litter. And in the wild, every calorie must be earned. She-wolf's ability to find a carcass is a momentary stroke of luck, but even a dead meal comes with risks. Scavengers like coyotes, ravens, and golden eagles converge quickly, eager to steal scraps. Despite their smaller size, coyotes often outnumber wolves at kill sites and are known to harass and distract, waiting for the right moment to snatch food. Eagles, with talons strong enough to puncture bone, are aerial opportunists. Fending off these bold competitors is no easy feat, especially alone. Her mate, though present, is still young and inexperienced. Male wolves typically shoulder much of the responsibility for providing food to a nursing female and her pups. In highly functional packs, Males will hunt, bring back food, and even regurgitate meat for the young. But in this fledgling family, he lacks the maturity or drive to meet those expectations. The weight of survival falls disproportionately on she-wolf's shoulders. Despite this, she fulfills her biological destiny. In the safety of a secluded den, often dug into a hillside or nestled under tree roots, she gives birth to a healthy litter. Blind and helpless, the pups are entirely dependent on her. In the first few weeks, she rarely leaves their side, venturing out only to hunt or drive off threats. Every absence is a risk. Most wolf mothers would rely on a pack to assist in feeding and defending the pups, but she-wolf has no such luxury. Driven by necessity, she resumes hunting alone, this time targeting elk. A daring and dangerous strategy for any solitary predator, let alone a nursing mother. Elk, Cervus canadensis, are among the most formidable prey in North America. A single adult can weigh over 700 pounds, and their long legs give them a distinct advantage in water and on open ground. Their sharp hooves can crush a wolf's skull or break ribs in a split second. But she-wolf, hardened by months of solitude and experience, adapts once again. Over time, she develops a rare skill among female wolves, the ability to bring down large ungulates entirely on her own. She studies their patterns, stalks the weak or isolated, and targets calves when the opportunity arises. Her technique is brutal and efficient. She clamps her jaws around the throat or muzzle of the elk, cutting off airflow until the animal suffocates. It's the kind of precision seen more often in solitary felines like cougars or leopards. With each successful hunt, she proves that she is more than just a mother. She is a hunter of extraordinary caliber. In a world where most wolves rely on strength in numbers, she-wolf becomes an outlier, a lone female capable of hunting like a pack, raising a family like a village, and surviving through sheer will and relentless determination. The Lamar Canyon Pack. Persistence, resilience, and unrelenting instinct have brought she-wolf to a long-awaited triumph. Her pups, once helpless and blind, are now agile, sharp-eyed juveniles. Her mate, once clumsy and carefree, has matured, and his brother, too, steps into the role of capable provider. Together, this once fragile trio has grown into one of Yellowstone's most formidable wolf families, the Lamar Canyon Pack. In wolf society, strength lies not only in numbers, but in cohesion. Packs that hunt and defend together are more likely to survive, thrive, and raise successful litters. With multiple adult hunters and fast-growing offspring, the Lamar Canyon wolves can now tackle much larger prey. Adult elk, bison calves, even injured moose. Wolves hunt strategically, testing herds, isolating the weak, using terrain and coordination. It's not brute strength that wins the day, but planning, endurance, and experience, qualities that she-wolf possesses in abundance. At 6 years old, she has surpassed the average lifespan of a wild wolf in Yellowstone, which hovers around 4 to 5 years due to the harshness of the environment, conflict, and disease. For a wild carnivore, she is now an elder, and yet still leading from the front. With 9 healthy pups to her name, she stands not only as a mother, but as the anchor of her lineage. A matriarch, a strategist, and a warrior. But no territory in the wild is ever truly secure. Just when stability seems within reach, danger returns. This time, not from starvation or isolation, but from her own kind. Another wolf pack, hungry for new ground, invades the Lamar Canyon territory. Wolves are fiercely territorial and will defend their land with lethal force. Clashes between rival packs often result in death, not only for adults, but sometimes even for pups caught in the crossfire. In the chaos of the attack, one of She-Wolf's daughters is separated. A lone wolf against a coordinated pack is almost certainly doomed. But, whether by hesitation or mercy, the rival pack spares her. It is a rare event. Wolves seldom show such restraint, but the message is unmistakable. The gravest threat to any wolf is not a bear, not the cold, not even hunger, but other wolves. Months later, the enemy returns. But this time, She-Wolf is ready. Using the terrain and tactics learned over years of survival, her pack turns the tide. They fracture the rival group, isolate a member, and this time, it is She-Wolf who strikes the final blow. It's not just vengeance. It's a reassertion of dominance, a warning to any who might challenge her home. For now, her territory is secure. The Lamar Canyon pack stands strong. But in the world of wolves, peace is temporary, and every victory is a fragile reprieve. She has earned it, for herself, for her family, and for the legacy she is still shaping day by day. A life of grit and legacy. Winter, once again, blankets Yellowstone in deep snow and harsh silence. For the She-Wolf, this season is no stranger. It is a familiar battleground. But this winter brings a different kind of challenge. Over the years, she has watched the elk population, the cornerstone of the wolf's diet, dwindle drastically. In just her lifetime, their numbers have declined by nearly 50%, driven by harsh winters, disease, and overpredation. The ecosystem shifts, and predators like her must adapt or perish. Faced with empty hunting grounds and hungry mouths to feed, She-Wolf is forced to make an extraordinary decision. She will lead her pack beyond the protected boundaries of Yellowstone National Park. It's a move fraught with peril. Outside the park, nature gives way to farmland and fences. Human territory begins. Ranchers, vehicles, towns, and worst of all, bullets. Wolves, despite their ecological importance, remain controversial figures. Outside federal lands, they are often seen not as apex predators, but as threats to livestock. In many regions, wolves are still legally hunted, trapped, or shot on sight. The dangers She-Wolf once faced from rival packs or starvation now pale in comparison to this new, human frontier. But even here, she proves her unmatched resilience. She navigates unfamiliar terrain, finds food, and protects her pack. Her leadership remains unwavering. She's not just surviving, she's outmaneuvering the odds once again. For a fleeting moment, it seems as though her story may defy even this final challenge. Then, gunfire. Her journey, built on courage and instinct, ends not in battle with prey or predator, but at the hands of a human hunter. After 6 years of defying the rules of survival, She-Wolf falls. Not because she was weak or reckless, but because the world beyond Yellowstone offered no protection for her kind. The loss ripples through the Lamar Canyon pack like a shockwave. In wolf society, the alpha female is not just a leader. She is the emotional and functional center of the group. She organizes hunts, nurtures young, and keeps the social hierarchy intact. Without her, the pack begins to unravel. Some drift off in search of new alliances, others struggle to adapt. The unity that once defined them is fractured. Her mate too is left adrift. With no partner, no role, and no direction, he finds himself retracing the path of solitude that she-wolf once endured. But now, the weight of grief accompanies him. In wolf biology, the bond between alpha pairs is powerful and emotional. Wolves have been observed howling and mourning after the death of a mate, even withdrawing from social interaction for extended periods. For him, as for the rest of the pack, she is gone. But her story and her legacy is far from over. The bloodline continues. Though she-wolf's journey ends, her story lives on, not in myth or memory alone, but in blood, bone, and instinct. Her daughter, known to researchers as Middle Grey, rises quietly to fill the void her mother left behind. In wolf society, succession isn't simply about dominance. It's about presence, resilience, and earned respect. And Middle Grey, shaped by her mother's strength and sharpened by the wilderness, is ready. Like her mother before her, Middle Grey must rebuild from the ground up. The Lamar Canyon pack, once strong and united, has scattered in the wake of its leader's death. But wolves are inherently social and adaptable. With careful leadership and the help of a new mate, a male from outside the park's boundaries, Middle Grey begins the slow process of gathering stragglers, claiming territory, and restoring structure. Soon, she gives birth to a new litter. These pups, the grandchildren of she-wolf, carry with them more than genetic material. They inherit generations of learned behavior, instincts honed through hardship, and the subtle memory of a matriarch who defied the odds. Scientists have long studied the role of maternal lineage in wild wolves. Behavioral traits, such as boldness, problem-solving, even leadership tendencies, are influenced by both nature and nurture. Pups raised by strong alpha females tend to show increased social cohesion and hunting efficiency later in life. Through Middle Grey, the she-wolf's impact continues to ripple outward, shaping not just individuals, but the future of the entire lineage. The challenges remain unchanged. Prey populations fluctuate. Territories must be defended against ever-present rivals. Climate shifts, human encroachment, and disease continue to test Yellowstone's wildlife. But this new generation is not starting from zero. They begin life with a legacy, not just of survival, but of transformation. Because she-wolf was never just a predator. She was a pioneer, a female who carved her own path through a landscape ruled by instinct and danger. She was a provider, a protector, and a teacher. She redefined what it meant to be an alpha. In the wild, few lives burn so fiercely or leave such a mark. Now, through her descendants, she-wolf lives on. Her bloodline coursing through the veins of a new Yellowstone. And in every howl that rises over the Lamar Valley, her voice echoes, not just as a mother of wolves, but as a legend of the wild. The legacy of the she-wolf lives on, in the blood of her descendants, in the howls that echo across Yellowstone, and in the strength she passed on through every challenge she faced. Her story is a powerful reminder that leadership, resilience, and instinct can shape the future, even in the wildest of places. If this journey inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories from the heart of nature.